Okay, one take, no edits. Let's see how this goes. A couple years ago, I ran across some lightweight AR-15 builds. Thought that would be a very interesting project. Thought I could easily get a sub 4-pound AR-15 pistol build done. And in the 6 or 8 months it took me to get all the various parts, which tend to be a little more expensive, not cheap. At that point, it seemed sub 4-pound AR-15s were commonplace, so I never uploaded the video. Just recently, I got a grip, a pistol grip, which I was very happy with. And without question, this might be way too loud or tacky for most people, but I thought the colors matched perfectly with the Spikes Snowflake build that I got here. And they are also available in all black, but I also got one that was red. Here's the one that is black and red. And I can't remember exactly what this weighed out at, but with the grip screw, I think the red one was about 44 or 45 grams, and this was about 41 grams. My Magpul pistol grip that was on there before was almost 70 grams without the screw that went in there. And that's one thing that I used the included screw just because it fit better versus the titanium screw that I used to have in there with my old grip. And it still comes out considerably lighter. So there's a $7 screw right there that I'll use for something else. The titanium parts that I got are V7. You'll see the titanium muzzle brake. It is their 5.56 micro brake, which weighs only 26 grams with the washer. Try to get some of that cat hair off of there. And you'll see the barrel is a Faxton Firearms 10.5 inch 5.56 barrel, and it is their 416, I think it's their 416, yes, it's the 416R stainless barrel, which has better accuracy over the mil-spec material. Two things I probably would have done differently with this build is I would have gotten the mil-spec material for the simple fact that this is just such a blast to shoot. It is so much fun that it would probably be more advantageous to have the pencil barrel that could handle more abuse than what this one does. So let me throw this on the scale here. So put that on there so that you can see with the optic and the tail hook, which is very heavy. I'm coming in at 4 pounds, 5 3/4 ounces, and that's with an H2 buffer. With an H1 buffer, obviously that would throw it below 4 pounds, 5 ounces. But I found that the operation runs much better with the H2 buffer. Part of the reason is the lightweight bolt carrier group, and let me pull that out real quick. And what we have here is the Cryptic Coatings skeletonized lightweight bolt carrier group, which is I'm a huge fan of Cryptic coating. I really wouldn't want to use anything else in any of my builds, but if I could do it over instead of getting this skeletonized Cryptic Coatings bolt carrier group. I probably would have gone with a titanium bolt carrier group that I've run across just recently, and it's slightly lighter than this, but I think that it would withstand a lot more abuse than this skeletonized version. But I have over a few hundred rounds through this, never had any problems whatsoever. It's been flawless, and of course Cryptic Coating has, the operation is just so incredibly smooth and so easy to clean. It without question is my favorite bolt carrier groups, but I would have done that differently. The other thing you can see, it has a standard charging handle in there, just because it's slightly lighter than the Raptor charging handles, but I will probably swap that out. It's only, I think, 3 grams difference between these two, and the Raptor charging handle is without question my favorite charging handle, and I just think adds to the ergonomics of the firearm. A couple of things that you might have noticed: it doesn't have a standard selector that you flip. It has a push button, and I did that for the simple fact that this was lighter than any of the, am I getting that in there? It's hard to tell. The push button is slightly lighter just because it has less material, and it works perfectly. Definitely a little odd to get used to having that type of safety selector on there, but it helps reduce the weight. The Optic, which is the Vortex Razor, has been phenomenal. On a lot of my builds, I have EOTechs or ACOGs, and I was really impressed at how well this Razor Optic works. It's easy to get incredibly quick acquisition. Can keep both eyes open and see the red dot, no problem. The combination with this red dot and it being very lightweight just adds for incredibly fast target acquisition. This thing's a blast to shoot. I love shooting this thing. It's a lot of fun. The recoil is not bad at all, although because this muzzle brake is a muzzle brake only, it gives a flame ball out of this thing. And this is V7's titanium micro brake. They're 5.56 micro brake. And I got this because it was the lightest one that I could find, and it works incredibly well. Other notable parts on this, we have an F1 firearms, and you can see just how skeletonized it is. Hopefully you can see that as far as the upper is concerned. And probably should have gone with a F1 firearms lower, but since this was so light, I was like, even a Snowflake can shoot it. That's why I went with the Snowflake theme. And of course Spike's Tactical had the Snowflake, so I got the color-filled Snowflake for the build, even though that lower is slightly heavier. One of the other really impressive parts is the carbon fiber handguard. And I have a couple of these, and this one's actually longer than the other one that I have on a 9mm build that I did. But I wanted to have it cover the gas block. So that's why I went ahead and went with the one that was slightly longer, even though it's a tad heavier. And the other one that I have, which is shorter, is also billed as the world's lightest handguard that you can get. And I was really impressed with how well this works. It's very comfortable. It doesn't retain heat. You don't need gloves to shoot this, even when doing mag dumps. It's there's so much airflow. It just works incredibly well, and huge fan of that as well. That worked out and is incredibly light and sturdy. Got some other titanium parts as far as the buffer retainer pin. That saved 1 gram. The titanium trigger pins in there. Both of these are, I think, 2 grams. So when it was a savings of 1 gram. And if you're interested to do a lightweight build, I think probably the first thing that you should do is buy a food scale. And I got this food scale at Costco, and it was incredibly helpful. It turned off. But I was really amazed at the difference the various parts had. Parts that I thought were lighter were actually not lighter. So having the food scale made a huge difference in being able to put this together and know exactly what was lighter and what wasn't. Like the Hello Kitty pens here are actually fairly lightweight. The original muzzle brake that I had was smaller than this one, but it was twice as heavy. So my first recommendation is get an accurate food scale, because you're going to need it. Because if you're trying to shave 1 gram here and 1 gram there, it really becomes necessary to be able to weigh it. And I guess that's it. If you wanted to keep this incredibly lightweight, you could use a neutered 10-round magazine to put in there, and that's a Lancer. I'm a huge fan of the Lancer magazines. And like I said, this is just, and of course that magazine was empty. This is just an incredibly lightweight, easy to use pistol, especially with the brace. It is so lightweight that it makes using the brace, the pistol brace, really easy, and able to get really good accuracy using the pistol brace. So if you have any questions, let me know. I think that's it. So let me get a cup of coffee here out of my old Camel Joe mug. And I pulled the Camel Joe mug out since today they are making flavored pods no longer legal. Thank you, government, for taking care of me. So I pulled out something else that they banned, which was Camel Joe. Don't want to have a Camel Joe mug. Again, any questions, let me know. And that's it.